Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Nitai Gaurango, Nitai Gaurango, Nitai Gaurango, Jayo Nitai Gaurango. Jayo Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jayo Krishna Balaram. Jayo Prahlāda Narasimha, Prahlāda Narasimha, Prahlāda Narasimha, Jayo Sudarshana. Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Jayo Srila Prabhupada. जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय। मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी क्षेत्र की जय। गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय। वृंद देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। श्री श्री निताय गौरांग की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय। श्री श्री प्रहलाद नरसिंह देव की जय। श्री श्री सुदर्शन भगवान की जय। हरि नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. ग्रंथरा श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेष्व भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 7th Canto, 10th Chapter, verse number 48. Yūyam nriloke bata bhuri bhaga. Yūyam nriloke bata bhuri bhaga. Lokam punana munayo abhiyanti. Lokam punana munayo bhiyanti. Yesham grihan avasatiti sakshat. Yesham grihan avasatiti sakshat. Gudham param brahma manushya lingam. Gudham param brahma manushya lingam. Yūyam nriloke bata bhuri bhaga. Lokam punana munayo bhiyanti. Yesham grihana vasatiti sakshat. Gudham param brahma manushya lingam. Yūyam nriloke bata bhuri bhaga. Lokam punana munayo bhiyanti. Yesham grihati sakshat. Gudham param brahma manushya lingam. Yūyam nriloke bata bhuri bhaga. Lokam punana munayo bhiyanti. Yesham grihana vasatiti sakshat. Gudham param brahma manushya lingam. Yūyam nriloke bata bhuri bhaga. Lokam punana munayo bhiyanti. Yesham grihana vasatiti sakshat. Gudham param brahma manushya. Yūyam, all of you, the Pandavas, nriloke, within this material world. Bata, however, bhuri bhaga, extremely fortunate. Lokam, all the planets. Punana, who can purify. Munayaha, great saintly persons. Abhiyanti, almost always come to visit. Yesham, of whom. Grihan, the house. Avasati, resides in. Iti, thus. Sakshad, directly. Gudham, very confidential. Param Brahma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Manushya Lingam, appearing just like a human being. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. Narad Muni continued, My dear Maharaj Yudhishthir, all of you, the Pandavas, are extremely fortunate, for the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna lives in your palace, just like a human being. Great saintly persons know this very well, and therefore they constantly visit this house. Please repeat. Narad Muni continued, my dear Maharaj Yudhishthir, all of you, the Pandavas, are extremely fortunate, for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, lives in your palace just like a human being. Great saintly persons know this very well, and therefore they constantly visit this house. Purport. After hearing about the activities of Prahlāda Mahārāja, the pure devotee should be very anxious to follow in his footsteps. But such a devotee might be disappointed, thinking that not every devotee can come to the standard of Prahlāda Mahārāja. This is the nature of a pure devotee. He always thinks himself to be the lowest, to be incompetent and unqualified. Thus, after hearing the narration of Prahlāda Mahārāja's activities, Maharaj Yudhishthir, who was on the same standard of devotional service as Prahlād, might have been thinking of his own humble position. Narad Muni, however, could understand Maharaj Yudhishthir's mind, and therefore he immediately encouraged him by saying that the Pandavas were not less fortunate. They were as good as Prahlād Maharaj. Because although Lord Narsinghdev appeared for Prahlad, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his original form as Krishna was always living with the Pandavas. Although the Pandavas, because of the influence of Krishna's Yogmaya, could not think of their fortunate position, every saintly person, including the great sage Narad, could understand it, and therefore they constantly visited Maharaj Yudhishthir. Any pure devotee who is constantly conscious of Krishna is naturally very fortunate. The word Nriloke, meaning within the material world, indicates that before the Pandavas there had been many devotees, such as the descendants of the Yadu dynasty and Vasishtha, Marichi, Kashyap, Lord Brahma, and Lord Shiva, who were all extremely fortunate. The Pandavas, however, were better than all of them because Krishna himself lived with them constantly. Narad Muni therefore specifically mentioned that within this material world, Nriloke, the Pandavas were the most fortunate. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So very nice conclusive understanding has been given here of Krishna consciousness. We are all in the Krishna consciousness movement, Hare Krishna movement. So our objective is to become, please settle down. So our objective is to become Krishna conscious. So it is important to understand what is exactly Krishna consciousness. Why it is important? Is it such a difficult thing to know? Not very difficult, but yes, it is very confidential. Because as we understand, Srila Prabhupada explains in Nectar of Devotion and many other places That Kansa also was Krishna conscious, Prabhupada explains. Always Krishna conscious, 24 hours thinking of Krishna. But that is not the kind of Krishna consciousness we are supposed to have. He was also Krishna conscious. But our Krishna consciousness is one of in bhakti yoga, in devotion. So Prabhupada explains we are all looking to solve the problems of our life, and there are unlimited problems. And for every problem, there is a unique solution. The problems of technology, if you solve, there is climate problem. The problem of medical science, if you solve, there is some other problem. Legal issue, different problem. Financial issue, different problem. So many problems are there. And people become perplexed. How to solve all these problems? But Prabhupada explains in the preface or introduction of Nectar of Devotion. So this one switch, which if you turn on, all the problems can be resolved, that is Krishna consciousness. Just if a person turns on this one switch, then all the problems get fixed. That is Krishna consciousness. And then Prabhupada explains also very nicely that this Krishna consciousness immediately elevates us to Vaikuntha. Even while living in this material world, person becomes freed from all the anxieties. That is the test of Krishna consciousness. Devotee becomes a resident of Krishna Loka. Prabhupada explains because you are always thinking of Krishna, you are living with Krishna. There is no difference between Krishna and Krishna's thought, like the gopis in Vrindavan. They were always thinking of Krishna. So when the devotee is always thinking of Krishna, Prabhupada, that means he is living with Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. He is immediately in Vaikuntha Loka, although apparently we live in the material world. So thus Prabhupada explains with a very nice example from his own life, how this Krishna consciousness elevates us to the platform of Vaikuntha even in this material world. So Prabhupada tells, in my younger days, I was traveling in tram, older version of metro in Calcutta. So Prabhupada gives another nice instance about tram. So Prabhupada, when he was child, even when he was a child, he would think how this tram is running very wonderfully without any horse. It runs on its own. And how does it run? Because there is electric wiring, and there is these bars which touch those electric wires, and then engine pulls. So Prabhupada told, if I have a very nice long stick, I will also touch these lines and I'll run without effort. Just like tram is running. Somehow I can cut a long stick. So children think like that. So anyway, transcendental pastimes. So Prabhupada tells now of his younger days. Prabhupada was traveling with his very small child. He was 2.5 years old. And when he was traveling, then the conductor comes. So in a joking way, he asks, where is your ticket? Show me the ticket. He tells, no, I don't have. Okay, give me money. So Prabhupada tells, my son indicated I have no money. So the conductor in a joking mood tells, then you have to get down from the tram. So Prabhupada's son started pointing towards Prabhupada. Father. So father is there. He will take care. So Prabhupada is just like a small child. If father is there, he is freed of all anxieties. He has no care. Nobody can take me out of the train, can give me trouble if just father is there. And we all know when we were young, if father is there, we think the strongest man of the world is there with us. Our father is most intelligent, father is strongest. So we all have little realization of this consciousness, how we are anxiety free. We are never anxious what we are going to eat, what we are going to wear, what we are going to study, what is our future, father's responsibility. Freed of all anxieties. But actually, this is also not the Krishna consciousness which is expected from us. Prabhupada explains, yes, this is Krishna consciousness in general, which people should have. If at least this much Krishna consciousness people have, that God is there, who is our Father, He is our protector, then there is no need of any anxiety. God is taking care of me. But this Krishna consciousness we'll find everywhere in all the bona fide religions. All the bona fide religions take Father, the ultimate supplier of everything. So if Father is there, Father is my protector, why should I be anxious? God is always projected as Father. Father who lives in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Father, give us our daily bread. That is why when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was discussing with Ramanand Rai, so he asked, what is the perfection of life? So Ramanand Rai explained how to attain that perfection, Varnashrama Dharma. So he rejected, no, cannot be done. Then he explained karma sannyas, give up all your duties, sarv dharman parityajya. So he told, no. The conclusion of Bhagavad Gita also was rejected by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So people are not able to understand anything of Bhagavad Gita. What to speak of conclusion? Sarv dharman parityajya is very confidential. Krishna is telling Sarva guhyatamam bhuya. I am telling you the most confidential thing. Surrender unto me completely. Sarv dharman parityajya. But this also is rejected by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He tells it is external. That is also not directly engaging in service of Krishna. Then further, karma mishra bhakti, jnana mishra bhakti, devotional service, positive. Mahaprabhu tells, no, tell me something further. And then the position was explained as Vatsalya ras. What is Vatsalya ras? Nand Maharaj, Yashoda Mai, when they take care of Krishna, they are very, very anxious to protect Krishna. Then Mahaprabhu got satisfied. Yes, this is nice. Now tell me if there is something further, more advanced. So everywhere in all the other, even Vaishnava Sampradayas also, so we are so very much fortunate. This Krishna consciousness which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to give us, all the Acharyas, Prabhupada is giving us, it is very, very rare, extremely extraordinary, very high form of Krishna consciousness. So in other Vaishnava Sampradayas also, Krishna is only taken as Father. I depend on Father, I worship the Father, and I go to Vaikuntha, become anxiety-less. But this concept of not surrendering to Krishna to get relieved of all the anxieties, but taking anxiety for Krishna, this is extremely rare. And it is from here that the Gaudiya Vaishnavism starts. Gaudiya Vaishnavism means beginning is Vatsalya ras. You don't try to get relieved of all your anxieties. Now you try to take anxiety for Krishna. This is the beginning of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And then of course Madhurya Rasa, which is the most confidential thing. So that is why Prabhupada explains very nicely. The first word if you read, which is used here is, after hearing about the activities of Prahlāda Mahārāja, a pure devotee should be very anxious to follow in his footsteps. So once we hear, that is why all these wonderful activities are described. When we hear, when a materialist hears the activities of another great materialist, a rich man, or a sports person hears the success of another sportsman or woman, a student hears the success of another student, they become very anxious to attain the same level of material success. They become very anxious. Oh, he has scored so nicely, I will also score more than him. He became millionaire in 25 years, I will become in 24 years or 20 years. They are very anxious to attain the same level. That is why the spiritual life is described here, so that we also become anxious to attain this position. So this Krishna consciousness, from where this word has come? It has come, Srila Prabhupada explains, from Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Matihi verse, which is from Bhagavatam. It is told Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Matihi. This Krishna consciousness, if it is being sold anywhere, please purchase it immediately. So Prabhupada explains very nicely what is this Krishna consciousness which is being spoken of in this verse. So there is a very nice conversation. It is Morning Walk Conversation, April 26, 1976. So whenever we want to remind ourselves of cultivating anxiety for Krishna, this advanced Krishna consciousness, we can try to read this. In this conversation, in great detail, Prabhupada has discussed cultivating anxiety for Krishna. So Prabhupada explains, Goswami's shloka, Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Matihi Kriyatam Yadi Kutopi Labhyate. This anxiety for Krishna, if it can be purchased, immediately purchase it. So Prabhupada is translating Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati as anxiety for Krishna. So the Krishna consciousness which Rupa Goswami wants us to have is anxiety for Krishna. So if this anxiety for Krishna is being sold, immediately purchase it. But what is the price for purchasing this anxiety? Immediately purchase it. Rup Goswami said, Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati Kriyatam. Just purchase Krishna anxiety if it is available somewhere. So the next question will be that, what is the price? What is the answer? Price of anxiety is? Prabhupada explains. What is the price? Tatra lolyam api mulyam ekalam. That anxiety can be purchased by anxiety. So when one is very anxious to have anxiety for Krishna, then only one can have Krishna anxiety. Anxiety is the only price for anxiety. That anxiety can be purchased by anxiety. So I'll do it. No. So if a person thinks, yes, I'll do it now. No. Janma koti sukritayar na labhyate. That anxiety is not available even by millions of births' pious activities. So this anxiety is not so easy. So a person may become enthusiastic. I have known the formula now. In order to get Krishna consciousness, anxiety for Krishna, I have to be anxious. So let me become anxious. Prabhupada tells no. Janma koti sukritayar na labhyate. You cannot attain it in millions of births, millions of lifetimes. This anxiety to become anxious for Krishna, it is not easy. Janma koti sukritir na labhyate. One never desires to become anxious of Krishna. That is why we see in our life also personally, or as society, as community, so many devotees are there in the movement. But where is this mood of taking anxiety for Krishna? How many devotees take anxiety for Krishna? We are also Vaishnavas, but we also go to lower stages of Vaishnavism, taking Krishna as father. I chant nicely, I follow Krishna consciousness. It is Sankirtan Yajna. If I do Yajna, my all needs will be satisfied. In this life, I'll be comfortable. I'll go back to Godhead. Just back to Godhead is the aim of life. So back to Godhead, people were going always. In every Kali Yuga, people will chant Hare Krishna, easily go back to Godhead. But in this Kali Yuga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has fortunately come to give us something beyond Yuga Dharma. Yuga Dharma, it is explained, any other avatara would have given of Krishna. But this anxiety for Krishna cannot be given by anybody but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So always people were going back to Godhead. But this anxiety for Krishna, it is not easy. So sometimes we see many times we follow Krishna consciousness to get rid. Rather, some devotees become disturbed and ask questions. Prabhu, why this problem is coming in my life? I am following Krishna consciousness so nicely. But Prabhupada explains no. So that is why very nicely it is explained here. It is not easy to get that anxiety. So thus the acharyas are very expert and very kind. They have designed this wonderful program for us by which we can attain this anxiety to become anxious for Krishna. So how do we do it? That Prabhupada explains further in the morning walk. So devotee asks, so if we are performing the deity worship and we get in anxiety, how to make it nice? Prabhupada, yes, that is Krishna anxiety. That is Krishna anxiety. If you become anxious, how to worship deity, how to dress Krishna nicely, how to do it? If you remain, that will develop your anxiety for Krishna. Therefore, deity worship essential. Exactly in time to get up, to offer Mangalarati, to dress, this anxiety is the beginning of Krishna anxiety. Then when you become perfect, you'll always be anxious for Krishna. And that is the perfectional stage. Therefore, by the injunction of the Shastra, regulative, it is a way of creating that anxiety. So we must follow. Then we'll come to the real anxiety. So deity worship is the first initial step to create that anxiety for Krishna. I have to sleep on time. There is anxiety. Materialist, is he anxious to sleep on time? No. He will come, do entertainment, waste time. When he's tired, then he will sleep. But devotee is anxious to sleep early. After 8 o'clock, if there is a meeting, we are anxious. If a call comes, we are anxious. At this time, call is coming. So we are anxious to sleep early. We are anxious to get up early, anxious to take bath quickly, anxious to open the altar on time, to close the altar on time, to bring out the offering Bring offering on time, take out the offering on time. Always we are anxious. So this is the beginning of Krishna anxiety. So devotee asks, so Prabhupada, 2 hours are too less to address Krishna. We become so anxious. So can we not do it in 4 hours? So Prabhupada tells, that is not anxiety, that is laziness. You should be anxious. Not that I am becoming anxious, so let me do it very slowly. That is laziness. No. So that is why this deity worship is designed. That is why in the glorification of Acharyas we sing Shringaratan Mandir Marjanado. This is very expert way. What is deity worship of general people? Whenever you get up, you do arati. That is their worship. No regulation. But here we are very anxious. That is why Prabhupada told punctuality and promptness. These are the two very important principles of deity worship. So punctuality always makes us very anxious. That is why Prabhupada told devotees should be very, very punctual. Suyantritaha. Everything should have a time. It should be done in that time only. So we are anxious. I have to catch up with the next event, with the next event, with the next service. Suyantritaha. This is very nice. Throughout the day anxious. So this is the first step. And then what is the next step? Deity worship is not all in all. So some people say that when I go on Sankirtan to sell books, I become in too much anxiety. If I am not doing well, so I'd rather not do it. Prabhupada, no, that is Krishna anxiety. He does not know. Let him know that that is Krishna anxiety. Yashoda, Mother Yashoda, became mother of Krishna so that she would always remain in anxiety for Krishna. Whether Krishna is safe, that is mother's anxiety. Therefore, she became mother. How to become in Krishna anxiety? This philosophy nobody knows. Everyone takes Krishna as the father. Father means I am anxiety less. Father, you supply my wants. And to become father of Krishna means to purchase anxiety for Krishna. This philosophy they do not know. So for selling books, anxiety is Krishna anxiety. If you become very anxious to sell more books, that is Krishna anxiety. That is not trade anxiety, that is Krishna anxiety. So Prabhupada explains very nicely. This philosophy nobody knows. Father means anxiety less. Father is there, he will take care of me. But this philosophy nobody knows. It is very confidential. That is why if you see in Bhagavatam also, what are the various ways of bhakti? Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnuho Smaranam Padasevanam. So I was reading in first canto, one of the purports Prabhupada writes. So these are the stages of bhakti to be executed by a neophyte. It was neophyte? Then what are advanced devotees supposed to do? So then if you see actually, yes. So it starts with Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, of course, because it is transcendental by executing any devotional service. So even just like deity worship is meant for neophytes, but advanced devotees also equally relish. But for advanced devotee, deity worship is not necessary, although they may do it. But for neophyte, there is no hope if there is no deity worship. Similarly, for neophyte, there is no hope if he does not do Shravanam Kirtanam. Arjun did not chant. Arjun shot arrows, Prabhupada told. But for a neophyte, he cannot do like that without chanting, without hearing. So Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnoho Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atmanevedanam. It ends in Sakhyam. Krishna is father or friend. That's it. Higher than that, Vasalyam Madhuryam is not explained because that is very confidential. So for neophytes, all these things are there, 9 stages. Sakhyam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanevedanam. And this is very confidential, very advanced devotional service, which is not available in any of the Vaikuntha planets, in any of the other incarnations. It is very rare, not available at all. So this is only available in the Golok Vrindavan. Vasalya Madhurya Ras. So this most confidential form of devotional service is being explained here. Prabhupada explains, nobody knows. So that is why when there are sometimes anxieties in our life, one should not think that I am becoming anxious and this is not spiritual life. Rather, the spiritual life is designed in such a way that we become very anxious. So Prabhupada explains very nicely in other context. So one devotee is sharing. Tejas Prabhu, he was given responsibility of preaching in Delhi and preaching for Vrindavan. So basically in Vrindavan, it is very difficult to raise money and big project is coming and everything. So he was supposed to stay in Delhi and then maintain Delhi center and maintain Vrindavan center also, because in Delhi you could only raise funds. So he is explaining a very wonderful pastime related to anxiety. I wrote a letter to Prabhupada about my anxiety. I was disheartened because the devotees I trained would abandon me after 3 weeks, 3 weeks later. Earlier, there was no concept of folk residency. Devotees would come live directly in the temple, and because they come directly, they leave directly after a couple of weeks of pot washing and other things. So it tells devotees I'm training after 3 weeks, they leave for good. This gives so much of anxiety. Even my wife would argue and run away. So Prabhupada's reply was, actually, we are not after making members. We are not after collections. We are not after selling books. We are not after any of these things. These are just different ways to engage in service to Krishna and thus to become Krishna conscious. You need not worry. Do not be in anxiety. So when we are not getting results in service, we become anxious. So Prabhupada told, no. If we are not able to make life members, not getting money, not able to distribute books, do not worry. These are ways and means just to engage us in Krishna service and thus become Krishna conscious. You need not worry. Do not be in anxiety. But 2 weeks later, Prabhupada tells, I got another letter from Srila Prabhupada, increasing my responsibilities fivefold. He wrote, make the members of parliament life members. So Prabhupada is telling, need not become anxious. And then Prabhupada has increased 5 times more responsibilities. So this was Prabhupada's style of management. So what is the mundane way of management? If a person does a mistake, he is fired from the job. And when a devotee would do mistake, what Prabhupada would do? Give him more responsibilities. You need more purification. You're not able to do it responsibility. Okay, take more service. Become more responsible. So it is very transcendental, very much different from how materialists would do it. So 2 weeks later, I got another letter from Srila Prabhupada increasing my responsibilities fivefold. He wrote, make the members of parliament life members. I had so many responsibilities that I was getting more and more anxious. I hadn't made a life member in 45 days. I was trying to follow Prabhupada's instructions of being detached, thinking I am servant of Krishna and whatever I get is Krishna's arrangement. But I was also thinking, why am I in such anxiety? The daily reality I faced was that the devotees in Vrindavan would starve if I did not send money. And I had to take care of devotees in Delhi also. At the same time, Prabhupada put me under stringent financial directives. So if this much difficulty is there for the devotee, but still Prabhupada did not compromise strict directives. I had to give 50% of life membership money to BBT and 50% to construction. So I had no money for maintenance. And I was the little maintainer of the Vrindavan and Delhi ISKCON temples. Beyond this, there were always new problems, more things to do, and not enough prasadam. I got sick. The devotees revolted. So just see, there is not enough prasadam also. The devotee is getting sick, the temple devotees are revolting. But Prabhupada was very strict. Life membership money means 50% should go to BBT for book production. Never mind, you're not having enough. 50% should go to BBT, 50% should go to temple construction. Now you raise more money if you want to maintain yourself. So it was very tough. Devotees are revolting, getting sick. Every afternoon, Srila Prabhupada would take a leisurely hour-long massage. He had so many things to do, but he was leisurely about everything he did. I went and sat there for a while. Then I told Srila Prabhupada, I am worried that I am not progressing correctly in spiritual life. In Bhagavad Gita it says, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Na Shochati Na Kankshati. When one attains the Brahma Bhuta platform or is Krishna conscious, anxiety and lamentation are gone. But I am always in anxiety and I am concerned that I am making an error in my spiritual life. Srila Prabhupada, please correct me. Prabhupada's reply was amazing. Prabhupada looked at me softly and kindly and said, No, your anxiety is all about pleasing Krishna. Mother Yashoda, again Prabhupada gives example, is always in anxiety that this demon Trinavarta might steal Krishna or that Krishna might be hungry. So all your anxieties are simply in relation to pleasing Krishna and are transcendental. He was so kind. So thus this is very important. If I think if I follow the rules and regulations strictly, there would be anxiety in my life. So people are not able to believe this. That this much 50% still, even if you are having no money in the temple, still 50% should go for BBT, for books. Similarly, those who are working outside, 50% contribution you give every month. People think even some devotees who have spent long time in the movement, they are also not able to understand 50% my salary is so less, how will I maintain myself? Morning and evening program I have to do. Where is time? I have to take care of my office, take care of family. How will I get up early in the morning? How will I do evening program? How to manage all this? There is anxiety. But yes, and over and above that, preaching also has to be done, Prabhupada tells. Grasta should not be satisfied simply by thinking I'm giving my money. It is the duty of every householder to arrange for preaching Krishna consciousness, making more devotees, spreading this Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada tells. It is the duty of every Grahastha disciple, every initiated Grahastha to arrange for preaching also, to preach also. And Prabhupada very clearly told, if you just do business, you will definitely fall down to a Grahastha couple who are doing business. So brahmachari sannyasis are not supposed to do business at all. Grahastha should do. But even if they are doing business, nobody is exempt from preaching. Otherwise, Prabhupada told, you will fall down for sure. There is definite fall down. So this may put a person in great anxiety. How will I do it? All these things. And this is the very thing which Prabhupada wants, that we should come in anxiety. This is the training. Otherwise, it is impossible to attain Krishna anxiety. So acharyas are so kind, they have given us all these rules and regulations so that we are anxious. So if you don't take anxiety, I am traveling, I take onion garlic, I take other things also. Or if I am at home, I am some other places, I give up my reading, this thing. So no, we should be anxious. How can I arrange prasadam here? How can I do this? How can I read here also in this situation? So thus this is very much required. All these rules and regulations definitely bring us into anxiety, and this is the very purpose of the rules and regulations, that we always remain anxious for Krishna. Thus Prabhupada tells, if you follow all these rules and regulations very nicely, get up early in the morning, offer Mangalarti, cleanse yourself, do deity worship, hear Bhagavatam, go for book distribution every day, then great anxiety to have Krishna will automatically come about. As a person getting cured from fever becomes anxious to eat, hunger awakens. Similarly, if you follow all these rules and regulations, great anxiety to have Krishna will come. And which is the most important rule, regulation to attain this? Most important? Yes. Yes, Prabhu. Eating, sleeping? Okay. No, no, no. Most important. No. We think chanting 60 rounds is most important, but Prabhupada explains very clearly. This Krishna consciousness movement is based on the foundation of, what is the foundation of Krishna consciousness movement? The Krishna consciousness, no. The Krishna consciousness movement is based on the foundation of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra at every second. Prabhupada tells. This is the fundamental principle, Prabhupada tells. Krishna consciousness movement is based on the fundamental principle. Prabhupada uses these two very clear words. Fundamental principle means that is a foundation that has to be taken care. On the foundation comes up the building. So what is the fundamental principle? The foundation, that is chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra at every second, Prabhupada tells. At every second. Because Krishna bhuliya ji bhogvancha kare, jhapati adhare. Maya captures immediately as soon as we forget Krishna. But how this constant chanting has to be done, as we are discussing in previous class also, this is a solution of everything. But how this constant chanting has to be done, this is also confidential. Or how these 16 rounds have to be done, this is also confidential. So that Prabhupada very kindly reveals in another important pastime. In 1969, so Prabhupada's activities and directions are very unique, sometimes mind-boggling. So the artist wanted to create so many paintings for our books. And the artists also were having marathon, painting marathon. So many paintings you have to create in no time. So how do you do it? And they were not trained artists. They were just some people who were, we see how these wonderful paintings, the artists who have drawn it, their initial paintings were like a kid is drawing something. So they were not knowing anything. So in 1969, the problem that the artists had, that they proposed that they wanted to go to art school. Well, Prabhupada, we need to go to art school, otherwise we cannot do it. And Prabhupada had said that was not how they were going to learn how to paint beautifully. Quotes, they may teach you how to paint in a mundane way, but that is not what I am looking for. This is how you are going to learn how you are going to paint. So Prabhupada tells, no, I don't want to go to art school. One may think, what is the problem? Somebody is an artist, I can learn from him and then paint Krishna pictures. What is the problem? Prabhupada tells, no. This is how you are going to learn how you are going to paint. You are going to sit in front of your canvas 8, 10, 12 hours a day. Day after day, the entire time you are going to be painting. You are going to be chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Prabhupada tells you are going to sit 8, 10, 12 hours painting and chanting. I understand that you feel helpless and totally inadequate. And you are in great anxiety that you cannot do this. So somebody may think that, oh, Prabhupada is so apathetic. He does not understand. They are feeling so helpless. They want to do the seva nicely. Prabhupada says, no, I understand. I understand that you feel helpless and totally inadequate. And you are in great anxiety that you cannot do this. Yet, that is exactly the mood that I want you to be chanting with. So Prabhupada says, that is exactly the mood I want you to be chanting with. I want you to be in so much anxiety, so anxious, in so much desperation that when you call out to Krishna, it is from the core of your heart, unquotes. Prabhupada says, I want you to be in so much anxiety, so much desperation that when you call out for Krishna, it is from the core of your heart. It should be the greatest desperation that anyone has ever felt in life. We all have various instances of desperations. When there is turbulence in the flight, it is mentioned in Chant and Be Happy book. George Harrison, he explains how people would chant. They become anxious for life. When there is accident, when there is any difficult situation, people become desperate. But the greatest desperation which anyone could feel, with that mood, Prabhupada explains, it should be the greatest desperation that anyone has ever felt in life. That is how I want you to chant Hare Krishna while your hand is moving. So just very clearly Prabhupada tells, whatever activities you are doing, you should chant, and not just chant as a tape recorder, as a music player, but chanting with desperation while you are engaged in your service. While your hand is moving, and if you do that day after day, crying to Krishna for help every single day, then you will learn how to be an artist. That is all the training you need. So Prabhupada tells, so that is why it is a common question devotees ask. How to always chant, always think of Krishna, because we have to do a service also. So Prabhupada tells, and when the question was asked, to remember Krishna more or to engage in service more, what is better? Because on one thing I might have to compromise. Either I can remember more and then attention to service will be less, efficiency may come down, or if I'm very much focused on service, chanting, I may not be able to do it regularly. But Prabhupada told no. The mood should be the devotee should always feel that I am totally unqualified, inadequate to carry out this service. And thus I should pray to Krishna. Please help me to engage in this service. And in this way, we'll be able to think of Krishna always. So, thus, it is with this desperation that we should chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra every second, 24 hours, and thus engage in the service of Krishna. And in this way, day after day, if we cry, chant Hare Krishna in that desperation. So, this is 24 hours when we are doing our services, and especially our 16 rounds, we have to be so much praying, so much desperate. This is required. With that mood, if we chant, so Hare Krishna mantra is not mechanical process. Sometimes we think it is mechanical chanting. Let me produce Hare Krishna mantra sound and just focus on it. Just like an archer in the Olympics is focusing on his goal, or a shooter is focusing on the dartboard. No, that is not how we are supposed to focus. That is impersonal focus. This chanting that we do, it is desperate cry for Krishna, to have Krishna anxiety in our life. So with this mood, 16 rounds have to be chanted, and throughout the day, every second, this is the fundamental principle on which Krishna consciousness movement is based. That always we follow this principle. So thus we should always see. Then Prabhupada gave conclusion. What was the conclusion? So Prabhupada explained the conclusion of philosophy. Srila Prabhupada summed up the morning's theme. Ultimately, he explained it was not possible to become anxiety less. The impersonalists who search after Shanti, peace, may try to become free from anxiety for some time, he said, but ultimately they would fall down. That is why it is told, Aharuya Krichena Parampadam. Those people who want to become anxiety less in their life, impersonalists, go to Brahma Jyoti, no anxiety. Patanti Adha, they also fall down from that position. You are a living being. You cannot be anxiety less. That means you are dead. That is not the ideal. Anxiety should be purified from material contamination, and it should be only for Krishna. Then it is perfect. Thus, Prabhupada explains, if we aim that I should be anxiety less, then we are dead. We cannot do it. So we have to become very, very anxious, but this anxiety should be purified from material to spiritual. So we can see in our lives, are there anxieties? If there are anxieties, then we can check, have we taken anxiety for Krishna? The answer would be no. We have not taken enough anxiety for Krishna. Anxiety we have to take. If we want peace, material comforts, we will end up in material anxieties. So that is why how to create anxiety begins with deity worship and book distribution, creating more devotees. Why we are not able to create devotees, preach Krishna consciousness? We should be very, very anxious to make more devotees, distribute more books, spread Krishna consciousness. And in this way we can cultivate. So thus Prahlāda Mahārāja, Prabhupada explains, if we hear his pastime, we should become very, very anxious. And Yudhishthira Maharaj became similarly anxious that he was such a nice devotee. And when will I attain this platform? And because he was a pure devotee, he was feeling that I am so fallen. That is the nature of a pure devotee. He thought I will never be able to have the same anxiety, same spiritual level as that of Prahlāda Mahārāja. So Narad Muni is pacifying him. Because of Yog Maya's influence, Pandavas could not understand. that there have been so many great devotees. Prabhupada explains the names of stalwart devotees. Marichi. So Marichi, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and it is explained that Pandavas are greater than all these devotees also. Greater than Vasishtha, greater than Marichi, greater than Lord Shiva, and greater than Lord Brahma also. That is the situation of the Pandavas. That is why all the great sages who were knowing Krishna consciousness, they were coming to the palace of the Pandavas. So in this way, the wonderful pastimes of Prahlāda Mahārāja are concluded. So we'll end here. Any questions? If you don't have any, yeah, yeah. So the question is, if we do not have any skills and we are praying to Krishna, will God provide this? Yes, God will provide everything that we want. Krishna's only business is to provide for all the necessities and desires of the living entities. So whatever skill we want, whatever resource we want, everything will be provided by Krishna. But what we should want, that should be guided by the authorities. Yes, so the question is, so we should not want for ourselves. For Krishna, I am willing to have some skill. So even for Krishna, if I am wanting something, that desire should always be guided by the authorities. So that is why Prabhupada told you engage in service of Krishna under the direction of temple authorities. Because that is the safest way of spiritual progress. Otherwise, even if we do not follow temple authorities, we may desire anything and Krishna will fulfill. But not following the authorities does not help us advance in spiritual life. So the safest way is, yes, we try to desire we for Krishna only, but this desire also should be under direction of devotees. Yeah. So question is, sometimes the temple authorities may give us some service for which we do not have any previous qualifications or experience. So should we pray for those skills and capacity to develop in us? So the answer is yes, definitely we should pray. But if we are extremely incapable, I do not know driving, and Prabhu told, please drop the devotees to airport. We may drop them to Vaikuntha Lok. So we should ask Prabhu, should I drop them to Vaikuntha? Airport I will not reach. So thus we should always feel free to go back to authority and express, Prabhu, this is my limited capacity. Still, if we are told you do it, then we should do it. And pray. The question is, sometimes the devotee may be forcefully put into anxiety. And then later, after going through all those anxieties, devotee realizes how helpful the anxieties were in my spiritual advancement. So does it also happen that Krishna is forcing? So the answer is yes. And in this context, the devotee is sharing with Prabhupada that how much difficulty he is facing in preaching Krishna consciousness. And then he traveled from India to Europe, I think. or vice versa, something. And so much difficulty he faced. And Prabhupada tells, yes, this is very much required. And he got diseased also. So Prabhupada tells, yes, this is very much required. This is called tapasya, accepting discomfort in the service of Krishna. I also faced lot of difficulties in traveling to your country, and then I got heart attacks and everything. So this tapasya is very much required for advancement in Krishna consciousness. So sometimes for our purification, Krishna creates anxiety for us. Voluntarily, if we do not take it, out of his causeless mercy, Krishna creates it, and then devotee realizes. So Krishna can very much do it. Yeah. Yes. 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 So the question is, it is explained in the last canto of Bhagavatam, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. The best among the Vaishnavas is Lord Shiva. And here in the purport it is mentioned that higher than Vashishta, Marichi, Brahma, Shiva is the position of Pandavas. So how to understand this? So that is why, because all these devotees are extraordinary. So there is no end to perfection. Just like in Bhagavad Gita itself, if you see, it is told, among the Brahmanas I am Bhrigu. But why Bhrigu? And Bhrigu did not even have perfect understanding who is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Among the Vajras, I am Thunderbolt. Why Thunderbolt? Why not Sudarshana? Why not anything else? So similarly, all these personalities are extraordinarily great. So that is why it is told, just like people discuss about famous personalities. You talk about president. Oh, nobody like him. Oh, no, but he was better than him. So that is why the same, there is a very beautiful shloka which we discuss many times. That which is the best worship. Vishnu Aradhanam Param. But there is something better than best. Tadiyanam Samarchanam, worship of the devotees. So this is the nature of spiritual life. Spiritual life begins with best, and there is better than the best, and there is better than best. There is no end to it. So that is why Lord Shiva is the greatest Vaishnava, but higher than the position of Lord Shiva is also explained here. Okay, again spoken something about. So some devotees may feel offended. Last time also there was a comment from devotee. I cannot expect that we are putting down Lord Shiva's position. So there will always be confusion, but we have to take shelter of the scriptures. And there are enough instances in the examples also. So just like a small child thinks, my father is strongest. All of us were thinking, I also was thinking. But when we grow, we realize, no, my father is not strongest, neither is most intelligent. So we might have affiliations for various devis and devatas we are attached to. But with an unbiased mind, even in spiritual life also, every devotee is completely satisfied in his or her rasa they have with Krishna. But with an unbiased mind, we understand Madhurya Rasa is the topmost. Similarly, we request everyone to understand with an open mind what is the position. And here the position of Pandavas is explained as higher. And higher than the Pandavas, it is explained, they are other devotees. They are Uddhava, higher than Uddhava, then Yashodamai, higher than that, Gopis of Vrindavan. So in this way, all the devotees are best and then better than the best. Also, this situation exists. Online, do we have questions? Yeah. Just a moment. So the devotees hearing from folk residency, they can please carry on. I'll take more questions for a while. Yeah. So which is better? Attending Mangalarti 4:30 online is better, or we do Mangalarti at our time with whole family? फिर 4:30 को मैं अकेला ही अटेंड कर पाऊंगा, अगर 5:30 6:30 को रहा तो मेरे पापा मम्मी भी अटेंड कर, तो क्या बेटर है, या फिर मैं दोनों करूं? So the question is, there are two options. Whether 4:30, now we have opportunity of attending Mangalarti live from the temples. You can log on and have direct darshan of the deities. Or 6:30, if you do Mangalarti, then parents also get up by that time. It is difficult for parents to wake up so early. So what is the solution? And the next part of question is, or should I do both? So both is better. You do Mangalarti, and the small Arti you do with the parents. Like in temple, we do Mangalarti, Darshan Arti. So if the parents get taste of doing this 10 minutes of Arti, they will also start getting up early, 4:15, and then do with them. So ideally, the best is we do live. not just attend live. If there is no possibility of, because in doing all our senses will be involved, will be engaged. We can hear also, we can use our limbs also to offer arti and everything. But online we can just watch and hear. So if there is no opportunity, the family is very hostile, we are in difficult situation, then we can watch live. Otherwise, as far as possible, we should try to do it. So now you can do both and gradually come to 415 standard. Is it possible to find pleasure in taking anxiety for Krishna? How do we do it? The question is it possible to take pleasure in taking anxiety for Krishna? How to do it? So yes, pleasure will come when we start following all the rules. We become anxious to take anxiety under guidance of spiritual master. Immediately there will be pleasure. We don't have to wait for a long time. Provided that anxiety is taken, that is why it is told Adav Guru Vashrayam. First of all, surrender, take shelter of spiritual master, and strictly take anxiety as per the guidance of spiritual master. Then we need not ask any questions. Automatically we'll feel pleasure. Yes. Otherwise, he would have left, no? So in also in book distribution, we do have the knowledge that we are serving Krishna and we have to take anxiety, but still we lose motivation. What to do in such cases? So the question is, in book distribution, we know the principle that anxiety has to be taken, but we lose motivation. So what to do in such cases? So that is why Prabhupada told, do in association of the devotees. So if we go in association, then if one person is down, other may inspire. He may feel down, this person may inspire. So that is why we do in association. Anything if we do in association, sometimes the modes of nature they affect us. Sometime we will be inspired. Some days we'll be lacking enthusiasm, but together we move forward. Another solution Prabhupada gives, when we are lacking enthusiasm, sit down in a suitable place like a temple or wherever and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra very nicely with great attention, and then we'll get enthusiasm again. Majority of the times we found ourselves in material anxiety and we chant in the mood to overcome the material anxiety. Is that as powerful as having Krishna anxiety? Please, sir. The question is, many times we have material anxiety and we chant to get rid of the material anxiety. Is this chanting as powerful as doing it for Krishna anxiety? So no. We should not try to get rid of material anxieties, as I told. Otherwise, we will leave Krishna consciousness. Because Krishna consciousness will put us into material anxiety. And this anxiety will take us to the liberated platform. So material anxiety is required. So we should not try to get rid of anxieties. We should be anxious. When will I get, if at all we want to do, get rid of this material entanglement altogether? So please do not chant to get rid of material anxieties. Otherwise, we may lose even faith in Krishna. So Krishna wants to give us complete liberation from material entanglement. And unless sometimes the material anxieties bother us very much, we maintain some subtle attachments. So to remove all those fine attachments, little attachment which is there in the heart, Krishna puts us into material troubles and anxieties. So please never chant to get rid of material anxiety. We'll finish. Granthra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki